Hello. Welcome all. This is a presentation as part of Harvard Fintech online short course. I picked up problem of four as part of the capstone project, which is Jumia super app. The idea for this presentation is to do some market analysis and provide suggestions or areas of improvement or areas of investment focus for Jumia and uh, put the company in the path of success and profitability. Right. I'll go through the market assessment and what are the measures it can take in this order, and conclude it by giving a plan of action. Let's get started with the market assessment here. Um, you can look here with the Q1 results for Jumia. So this is Jumia at a glance. This is from Jumia's Q1 results itself. You will see the area of focus for this company here. You have 22 million gross orders, predominantly on shopping. There are 5.4 million annual active customers. That's an area of growth for this firm. And you see 75K active vendors. That's a good number, but that's another area for improvement. Nine countries. The company is operating in nine countries, which is really good. Uh, in terms of number of countries, it's really good, and we'll look at any areas of improvement to increase the revenue stream as well across. And at the same time, we'll also compare the verticals market share in financial in market in Africa. So if you look at this graph, you see like from 2015 to 2025, the market doubled, right? $110 billion to $230 billion. That's the increase of market there. In the payment space, remittances, and the growth is going to be really huge by 2035. So we'll get to that. But if you look at the areas here, the key points that I want to highlight here is where Jumia's focus is, but the different areas where Jumia can focus given the landscape of financial market in Africa. So I'll handpick some of those in my analysis in SME lending, in remittances, and insurance. And I touch base upon crypto, but crypto is a long-term plan, but we will need more focus on other segments where there is established technology and how the transfers can happen, which can be leveraged pretty quickly than in investing more on cryptocurrency. Right. Let me go through what the goal is, what are the challenges, and we'll also go through the opportunities in detail going forward. All right. What is the goal for Jumia at this moment? Right. Jumia is a company which started with a lot of promise, but they're really good when it comes to e-commerce platform, and they have seen success in that. But growing competition, growing fintech landscape, Jumia has huge opportunity to expand the company across, as a multi-service digital ecosystem, and including a super app and expanding itself through financial inclusion, right? And we'll also analyze what are the challenges Jumia is facing. It's We can take it as challenge or where the areas of improvement for Jumia per se, right? Jumia should spend a lot of investments in areas like lending, insurance, remittance, reward programs, which a lot of successful super apps and its competitors are currently doing. And Jumia has started on most of it, but mostly like a pilot or on the beginning stages or without success. Right? These are the areas where the market share is huge. Uh, at the same time, there is opportunity to grow as well. And the second area would be using technology, creating a super app, giving seamless experience, and ensuring that active users increase over the years, and also the user retention is there. To take measures for user engagement, and the value that they see coming to Jumia is what is the key, right? Do we have some rewards? Do we have quality of products? Do we have quality of delivery? is the communication transparent, and all of those factors, right? So super app and fintech adoption are the two things I see where the major focus should be on. While that is in a growth area, the other area where we have to ensure that profit margin increases is the cost cutting, right? We'll need to look at cost cutting in detail as well. So we'll go through all these options in detail. And like I was mentioning before, opportunities and expansion I have categorized into two areas: the fintech adoption and financial inclusion. We need to basically there are multiple areas, obviously, right? So we need to focus on few key areas. SME lending is a huge market. Digital remittance is a huge market. I'll go in detail in the upcoming slides. BNPL, Jumia started on it with the collaboration with Credpal, and that's a good move, and they need to expand on it. Insurance and a technology where you have uplifted interface, loyalty and gamification, involve machine learning and AI, leverage the technology in making the right decisions, invest in blockchain, be ready for the future. All right, and also build a tech stack which can be leveraged within the company, expanding into multiple streams, or also licensing out. So these are the areas we'll touch base upon. Let me move on to the fintech adoption right now. I'll start with this SME market share. If you look at the stats here, 90% of all the companies are SMEs in Africa, and if you see the staggering number in Nigeria, it is 96%. If you compare that with US or Europe, it is 53 and 65% in those continents. And see, Nigeria has a huge advantage here tapping on the SME market, given 96% of the share. So Jumia has started in this direction, but couldn't sustain the competition again. So starting is one thing, and how do we sustain it in the right approach? Check the risks, have the mitigation plan in place, right? So in order to do that, I've put up a few points we can go through in the plan of action. First thing is understanding the clients and market. Right. In order to do that, you need to include technology. You need to understand the data. You need to understand the transactional data of the SMEs. Categorize the customers or clients into tiers, and these tiers basically will define your interest rates, your repayment plan. You can build custom strategy basically depending on the tiers, right? And at the same time, the other key point would be transparency. How you articulate the payment guidelines and ensure that there is no privacy breach. So that's one of the key, right? So and maybe you can bring in some programs where for depending on the tier where the client belongs to, you can have free installments to build long-term relationship with the clients. And overall, if you look at the lending space, the speed of disbursements is another key thing, right? So you need to disburse the amount as soon as possible, as fast as possible, and you have to stick with the promise. If it is 24 hours, 24 hours, 48 hours, 48 hours, like sticking with the promise and building the trust on it. So overall, you need to understand the clients, bring them into tiers, build trust, ensure transparent competition, and disperse the lending fast. Right. That's if we pick up all these things, we can easily tap into the 96% of market there. Let's move on to digital remittances here. Right. So even here, the numbers are staggering. The business or the share in Africa, as if you take it as 100 billion, Nigeria contributes 20 billion in it. So that's a lot of market share to explore. And given the stats, the estimates are $500 billion by 2035. So Jumia is yet to explore this market. It's basically deeply connected to the culture and livelihood of Nigeria. It's basically across the developing nations, right? Based on the globalization, everybody moves out of the country, work and send money to their people. So that's one of the major area even to be part of financial inclusion here. So how do we go about that, right? So you need to do more analysis on mobile money, where your competitors are current leaders like M-Pesa, where they're leading the mobile money space, and you need to integrate that mobile money into cross-border transfers. and you need to build a technology which ensures that the transfer happens super fast, and the transfer cost should be less, right? So how do we do that? It depends on whether you use the fiat currency or blockchain or different options, but that is an area where you need to ensure that faster, safer transfers with low cost. And at the same time, customer experience is key here. So depending on the amount of transfer, uh, people will be anxious to see the transaction is complete or not. So the app should provide the tracking information, uh, like real-time traffic tracking information. So that's where the APIs and other technology involvement is more where you need to invest better, right? And when it comes to cross-border money transfers, regulatory compliance is one of the key things that I would say. That is one of the biggest challenge for cross-border transactions. If not for blockchain, even with the regular currency, right? So always be proactive in working with policymakers to ensure the compliance is there. And let's move on to the next one, right? The QR code space. So I've taken an example of Paytm in India, where um, if you look at India, so across from rural to urban areas, Paytm is penetrated to the lowest of levels, right? So you can from biggest of shopping malls to the smallest street vendor, you can see Paytm payment option. So that's where the financial inclusion comes, and Jumia should spend a lot more time and invest in the API's QR code penetration through the rural markets. Uh, I mean, do we have an option there? I mean, do we have an opportunity there? Yes, right. So you have smartphone adoption more than 50% in Africa, and also the and even the younger population is more. So the smartphone usage is more, and it's easy to educate people, about benefits of digital payments. I just gave an example here. I think mostly, if you look at current trend, people may forget wallets, but nobody forgets the smartphone, right? So pay anywhere, no ATM required. That's a key point that can be highlighted while educating as well. So QR code. And the other two areas are insurance. Right now, Jumia has insurance for devices. It's good to expand for delivery options as well. And loyalty and rewards is the other thing. So you can have personalized loyalty programs. It need not be like, again, one solution will not fit all. So you need to build loyalty programs specifically for different tiers of customers and vendors. That again, you will need to include data-driven decisions, where you have to have machine learning, AI should be part of your technology stack going forward. So we have seen the fintech adoption and financial inclusion opportunities. The second part of growth opportunities is technology, right? We need to have a super app with intuitive experience, and at the same time it should be secure and personalized. So right now the app is this is Jumia app, but the UX is really basic with limited services, right? So that's an area where it can increase a lot of user engagement and in turn user retention. So here is a plan of action that I think about this area here, where super app with personalized UX, right? So the experience on the app should not be same for everyone. So use the data, use machine learning, create a persona of the users, give the user specific features based on the data. At the same time, you can always let the user know that there are more features to use, but we don't have to clutter the experience with all the 20-30 features on the same page. So personalization is the key. Always educate the customer when you're adding a new feature, right? Interstitials is one good way. You can give instructions, but make the instructions simple, not too many pop-ups showing up in the app. uh, Ensure the content is clear and it's accountable. Like, the trust that we should build is, like, Jumia says something on the app, it is accountable to that, right? So clear content, simple, clear content for communication, is one of the key areas I would say when building a seamless experience. And performance is another thing. So when we have this sales, annual sales or by quarterly sales or something, those are the times when the sales shoot up and there will be a lot of people trying to access the app, trying to make some transactions. So performance is top criteria in enhancing it. At that point of time, I mean, cloud moving to cloud is one thing. How it can drastically scale in terms of APIs that the app is dependent on, but that's a key thing to be taken care of. And the other one I would highlight is I saw this on the App Store reviews as well as regular app updates, right? So we should have as minimum app updates as possible. To do that, your APIs to be more intelligent than the app itself. So if the intelligence in the API is user doesn't have to download the app multiple times, you can make all the changes that you need from the backend itself. Right? That should be one of the key. And doing all these things, the premium experience always comes with security features, right? So fraud detection, because it's a payment app, right? So enhance as much security as possible within the app and communicate to the users that Jumia takes security as a top priority, and this is the effort we are putting on the app. Bringing trust is really important for user retention, and obviously premium experience gives user engagement. So that's the second focus area, and uh, Jumia should be focusing on. And yeah, we discussed about the areas of opportunity to invest and focus on, but this is another area where we can build on reducing the cost and increasing the margin of profit, right? uh, how do we do that? So first we need to analyze the cost. Like if you see at software contracts, so the financial report Jumia shows that there's a lot of expense on software contracts, which are long-term software contracts, legacy hardware and data centers, and then fulfillment costs, all the tracking, like delivery, transport, basically the packaging, all the fulfillment costs are like close to 20%. Right. So you can reduce the cost building a partnership with local vendors with long-term contracts so that the cost itself reduces. And we need to build tech stack in-house, wherein initially you will see there's investment on it and you see that as an expense. But on the long run, if you look at 2 years, 3 years, 10 years down the lane, the cost dramatically reduces if you have solutions in line, instead of having software contracts, and the cost of software contracts are not reducing any day, right? And when while we are doing technology adoption, automation is one of the key where it can reduce the cost. So there are two areas where it can reduce the cost. There are multiple areas, though, predominantly two areas. One is it can completely remove the cost for run the engine kind of operations, and the second one is when we are doing run the engine, there's a lot of staff linked to it. That's an not so popular option to reduce the headcount, but there are areas where there will be like repetitive actions that we'll be doing, and those are the areas we should focus on automation. And all of these measures needs to be phased, right? So we can't do it on a day one, so we have to phase these goals, reduce the cost, and parallelly build platform that can sustain long term. So these are the areas that we need to focus on. While we are doing all these things, there will be a lot of risks associated with it. We should always consider the risk and also have a mitigation plan for it. I've listed out a few of those here. You can go through the regulatory risk, where one should always be working with the policymakers in it to ensure the remittance operations are smooth. We need to go with the pilot. We need to have a phased plan in place depending on the outcome of each phase. Credit risk. SMEs pose a risk of no repayments. So it depends. Again, that's where I was mentioning about tier programs. You need to categorize. Your ideas should be predominantly on the strategy should be predominantly on the tier, right? Each tier will have different plans. That should be the approach. Um, and infrastructure, again, I was talking about technology. ensure to have cloud infrastructure for scalability and resiliency, right? So our own data centers, we will have to worry about power outages, and every time you have to increase the capacity, you need to build a new data center. Cloud helps in all these areas without we putting a lot of energy, but we can at the same time pay for what we use. And uh, and also, where are we dependent on? So a lot of areas we might create our own dependency, and companies would be in a spot where the contracts cannot be cancelled. So we need to identify those dependencies and ensure that business is decoupled. So the one last thing and very important thing for financial inclusion as well is education, right? So this payment digital payment platform is it's very niche at some point, but it's not anymore. So we need to educate people, vendors, on the benefits of digital um, markets, and ensure that we get some long-term relationship with Jumia. So that's education, I would say, is one of the key initiatives Jumia should focus on. So we have discussed on the areas where we need to focus. So this could be a simplified execution plan for SME lending. Like I said, build a tiered program, digital remittance, start small with lower or free transfers to grow big with trust. Um, Next is a super app with the personalized premium interface. Top priority to increase user engagement with younger customers. Target to release personalized app within the next year. So we need to have goals which are quantifiable. So I'm trying to come out with some plan in that direction, right? BNPL and insurance. I think Jumia has started on it. Um, it's how we expand it across products is the plan. And loyalty and gamifications. You know, to build partnerships and create tiered rewards based on spend. I've explained that in detail. Machine learning and AI, again, all the decisions, if they are data driven, will give a sense of confidence in how we are investing as well. So build a machine learning analysis and analytics platform that can define the behavior of customers, and that makes it easy for us to make any decisions. And obviously all these things have technology across. Technology is a horizontal, right? So invest in technology, at the same time build blockchain capability. It may not be a short term one, but for the long term we should be ready for the future. Right, invest in technology to support all the above mentioned execution plans. At the same time, build blockchain capability as well for the future. um, so yeah, with that execution plan, let me conclude. What are the key areas that Jumia should be focusing on? So the way I've explained earlier, it is financial inclusion, fintech platform, and the personalized super app. Jumia must re-architect their platform. It needs to create an ecosystem and diversify the areas of business. So there is market research which provides information in terms of how big the markets out there in financial space which are untapped by Jumia. So those are the areas should be analyzed with the use of technology, and start tapping and writing. And the other top priority obviously is the super app, right? So that is the gateway of using all these features. So Jumia must re-architect a premier super app with personalized experiences and seamless navigation interfaces extending to local languages. So if you look at a lot of countries where local language support within the app is really important. Uh, there's one language, Swahili is one thing which app doesn't support, but there are 200 million speakers of that language within Africa. So there are a lot of local languages around. You can do analysis on what is the population versus language and see how we can support that in the app as well. Right. And finally, adopting to technology with caution, with clear roadmap, piloting new revenue streams with measurable KPIs, working closely with policymakers. That is the key for remittance, will define Jumia's success. Technology, trust are the key. So I would say Jumia has the right way ahead um, to success. It's just the way we make the decisions and go in a phased manner to execute these plans. Thank you, guys.